Last night on MasterChef Australia,
we're all in a lot of trouble.
the final 5 amateurs faced a mystery box prepared by Jimmy.
I think he stitched them all up.
And Courtney said farewell to her MasterChef dream.
I guess there's no ideal way to leave this show unless it's covered in gold glitter and winning the title.
Tonight, the 4 remaining hopefuls face the fight of their lives.
Today is a cookbook challenge.
The pressure is on to cook their 3 best dishes
If you just have one disaster, it's all over.
and present the concept for their very own cookbook.
This is what it comes down to. Will your dreams come true or not?
Judging them, best-selling author Maggie Beer.
I think it's fantastic.
I think it's one of those days where good food can still see you being eliminated. Waking up this morning, the house is pretty lonely. There's 4 of us sitting on this massive table eating breakfast together, and I'm looking around thinking, where is everyone?
4 left. I can't believe it's just 4 now.
Now that it's getting down to these kind of numbers, it sort of just hits you in the face, and you can't avoid the fact that there's a chance that you could win this, and it's a really unnatural feeling for me.
I'm still here, and I feel lucky to be here, but it's cutthroat at this stage of the competition, and that means you have to pack your bags and be prepared to go any day.
Being Australia's next MasterChef would just be a huge feeling. I mean, we go through so much, all of us. And to come out of that victorious, knowing how hard it is to get that victory, any one of us would just be walking on cloud 9.
There's only 4 of us. Feels like there's no place to hide anymore. There's just 4 benches, the judges are there, and it really hits home how far we've come this competition.
Welcome back to the MasterChef kitchen. Look at you, the final 4. Callum, Claire, Jimmy, Adam. You have worked so hard in the last 3 months. I respect you for what you've done. Claire, Jimmy, I have to remind you, you were the first 2 contestants safe in the top 24.
Who would have picked this top 4? We're all so different in terms of our cooking abilities, cooking styles, and what we actually like to cook, what we even talk about when it comes to cooking.
One person will win this competition. And today, one person will go home.
I've got an enormous amount of respect for Jimmy, Claire and Adam. But having said that, I'm not going home today. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that at the end of the day, I'm still standing here.
In a few short days, one of you is going to win the prestigious title of Australia's next MasterChef. The prize, if you win, you get $100,000 in cash. You get the opportunity to train and work with some of the best chefs in this country. And one of the most important parts of the prize is that you get to put your thoughts, your ideas, your style of cooking into print, into the pages of your very own cookbook.
There's nothing better than seeing your name on a book with your recipes in it. I mean, that's kind of the bee's knees for us, I think.
So today is a cookbook challenge.
This is how the challenge will work. You will have to produce 3 dishes. 3 dishes that will eventually be in your cookbook if you win. And of course, you need to tell us what the title's going to be.
It's really one of the first chances that we've had to open up to the judges and tell them what we're all about and what we want to do after this competition.
There's so much to play for. And because there's so much to play for, it's going to be more than myself, George, and Gary judging this challenge. We've enlisted the help of one of our favourite friends, a woman who's published 7 cookbooks, has an 8th on the way. Please welcome our co-judge today, Maggie Beer.
I'm Maggie Beer. I'm the creative head of Maggie Beer's Farm Shop and Maggie Beer Products. I'm a cook, a cookbook writer, and I've been doing that for 30 years. I've written 7 cookbooks, and I'm told I've sold over 400,000 cookbooks. Wow.
Maggie, it's fantastic to have you back in the MasterChef kitchen, and it's fantastic to see you look as thrilled as you do at seeing our final 4. What makes the perfect cookbook?
It's about being genuine and original and be true to yourself, because that's what makes the perfect cookbook.
Maggie says that she's looking for food that's authentic and true to who we are, which suits me just fine.
We do eat with our eye, so I want to have my senses engaged the moment I see it.
You have 2.5 hours to produce 3 beautiful dishes. The pantry is laid open. You can go in and out of it as many times as you want to create those dishes.
This is an opportunity for us to really cook with our heart. Having said that though, 3 dishes, 2.5 hours, it's going to be tough.
What you must deliver to the 4 of us is the concept for your book, represented by the 3 dishes that you cook us. We're going to judge you on the execution, the taste, how the dish looks. You've got to impress us with that concept.
It's a very personal kind of a challenge. It's not someone else's recipe that you're cooking. You know, this is your food.
The person who least impresses us today with their concept, their 3 dishes, will be eliminated.
Got 2.5 hours to prove to us that you're worthy. Your time starts now.
First things first, run to the pantry. I haven't had much time to think about what I really want to create. I've got 1,000 crazy ideas going through my head. I'm actually in a little bit of a frazzled state. Just got to put my mind to it.
As the challenge starts, the thing that I can immediately feel is pressure. This is your philosophy about food, and you're about to put it in front of the 3 judges and Maggie Beer. If things don't go well, it would be a devastating blow.
Thankfully today it's an open pantry, which is just as well because I seem to have a million different ingredients, and much as I try and check them off in my head, I end up kind of going backwards and forwards a lot.
I'm making 3 dishes today. The first one is an Asian-style soup. My second dish is pork belly with an apple cider and vanilla sauce. And for a dessert, I'm going to make chocolate fondant with date and orange ice cream. So my book's going to be called A Cook's Roadmap. Instead of having the chapters as seasons or entree, main, dessert, it's going to be broken up into techniques. So it's going to be broken up into, roasting, braising, grilling.
Confit as a chapter, braising, and each dish I'm making today represents one technique that's going to go into that.
We've talked about that. We better be quick and get our book out, haven't we? Because he's going to do it. I love that. That is great.
For the starter, I'm going with seared scallops, pork belly and apple.
Yeah, beautiful. Have you thought about your book? What would it? What's the theme? What would it look like? What are you trying to get across?
In theme, cooking from the hearth.
Yeah.
So it's all sort of the hearth. Yeah, it's consistent with my vision and my philosophy about food, which is make sure the food always comes first.
Yeah. And when you talk about this hearth, you've talked about your restaurant in the past, saying you're going to have this big fireplace and whatever.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself cooking things over this hearth as well?
Yeah, I love it.
The entree of seared scallops is quite complex. There are 2 textures of apple, fresh apple and toffeed apple. So I get the caramel on, it's reducing nicely, and I'm busy doing a million other things, and all of a sudden I look over and there's a kind of plume of black smoke.
Oh, great.
not really what I'm looking for, so I have to start over, and I've got other things I should be doing. It's like, oh.
Today's challenge is a cookbook challenge. We have 2.5 hours. We've got to create 3 dishes. The food I've chosen today really sums up the food I want to create and the food I want to have down in print. Something I always like to make is a chai latte, and I thought, why don't I make it into a brulee? It's me, it's creative, and I'm on a bit of a dessert roll, so I'm going to stick with the theme. The cookbook idea that I have, it's about getting people to understand spices and to use them in their food and not to be afraid of them, to think, yeah, I could make that. Open up the book, look at the picture and think, I'm going to have a crack at that.
The 3 dishes I'm making today are Chinese churros with a salted duck egg custard, Hainanese lobster rice, and then also a chirashi sushi with smoked kingfish.
Wow, loving the sound of this. A lot of creativity and a bit out there, which is, you know, what we love when you start cooking wildly. That's the thing.
There's a lot to do.
Yeah, there's a lot to do.
And you said the first dish you've never made before, yeah?
Well, I've poached lobster before. I've made Chinese chicken rice before. It's slightly different because you usually use the fat from the chicken to then fry the rice before you cook it. So that obviously there's no fat coming out of the lobster. So I'm going to do duck fat rice instead of chicken fat rice.
Wow, sounds good. And the agar?
Agar is something I'm trying for the chirashi sushi. I want to make a green tea because green tea and sushi is such a great match. I want to do a green tea gel.
In Japan, agar has been used as a setting agent for centuries. It creates jelly that's a little bit more stable than a gelatin-based jelly because it sets at a higher temperature than gelatin.
One more question. What's the name of this book going to be?
2 Asian Kitchens, because I think there's just sort of, in me, there's always that traditional side and also the modern side.
Something about you and where you're from and also your life experience recently in Japan. I love that. Yeah. That's a good title.
Good, man.
The sauce to my pork dish is basically just a reduction of apple cider, apple juice and vanilla. So I get that onto the stove and that can just be reducing while I'm doing other things. The biggest risk with my mussel soup is getting that balance of flavours right. If you don't have enough flavour, it's going to be a really bland soup and not pleasant to eat at all. It has to have big bags of flavour.
The third dish I'm making is an evolution of a traditional Japanese chirashi sushi. That's a form of sushi that's really a mixed sushi, and it's served in a bowl with sushi rice topped with a number of different types of raw fish. One of the real key elements to my chirashi sushi dish is the little jellies that I'm making, one green tea jelly and one yuzu jelly. But I'm actually diluting the yuzu juice a fair bit because yuzu juice as it is it's like lemon juice, it's very acidic. And agar doesn't set too well in an acidic environment.
For the entree, I have a crispy skinned duck with a tamarind glaze. It's an Asian-inspired dish with my own little techniques put to it. I've got to get this duck cooked to perfection. I'm poaching it and then pan frying it. If I overcook it, it's going to be way too tough and it's not going to be tasty.
I'm looking at Jimmy there. He's crisping these ducks, and to be honest, it looks like he's crucifying them. What I did notice, though, is he poached it off the bone. So what's happened is that those duck breasts have gone a bit wobbly. They haven't held the shape. If it was me, I would have cooked it on the bone. Would you have done the same?
Oh, absolutely, because not only does it keep its shape, but it's actually sweeter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The main is roast beef with red wine reduction and potatoes. It's a beautiful piece of beef, so I really want to kind of showcase that and retain the integrity of the produce.
Claire's got an interesting story. I mean, her book is going to be all about the hearth, is that correct?
Hearth, because I want to open a restaurant called Hearth out in the bend of a river somewhere in the country where you can hear the water and breathe fresh air and, you know, taste beautiful locally grown produce and, you know, feel the warmth of this big central fireplace that I'm going to have. So the food that I love to cook is about simplicity, it's about honesty, it's about not mucking around with beautiful produce, it's about respect, I guess, and food that makes people feel loved and warm, and I hope so.
Exciting! You're excited!
I am so.
You got a few tears. Brilliant. That's good, Claire. Emotions.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want. Connection.
I'm not one for gratuitous displays of public affection, but I just want to give Maggie Beer a big hug.
The The challenge is about halfway through. My sushi rice is cooked, and now it's time to incorporate my vinegar mixture and fan that rice until it reaches blood temperature.
38 degrees, got to fan it until I get down to near to there.
When I make sushi at home, usually I've got someone there fanning for me and I'm just cutting the rice, or vice versa. But to do it all as one, it's, yeah, I haven't done this before.
You're just over halfway through. You've got 1 hour to go.
That's right, guys. Come on, you need to amp it up.
For the main, I've decided to go with a traditional style prawn dish. It's prawns poached in a garam masala bisque. The prawn's not going to take that long to cook, so I feel like I'm doing really well.
The biggest risk with my chocolate fondant today is overcooking it. It's the biggest crime to overcook a fondant. It should be, when you cut it open, it should ooze out with chocolate. And if mine doesn't do that today, I know Gary is going to be very disappointed.
He's doing chocolate fondant as dessert, and I think they've just come out of the freezer or the fridge and they're going into the oven, so that's a bit early, isn't it? 50 minutes to go. I wouldn't be cooking them now, would you?
No.
Look, the problem is that a good fondant is all gooey in the middle, and if he cooks them now with, 50 minutes to go...
But don't take them out.
Yeah.
Now that he's got them in.
The dessert is going to be orange blossom panna cotta with blood orange syrup and pan perdu. Panna cotta is a tough one, and there are a lot of really bad panna cottas in the world.
And she's also made a little gratin to go with the beef. Look, the risk is that she seems to be doing too much. She's not going to get it together in time.
The first fondant I pulled out was underdone. When I lift the ring off, it splits on the side and all the chocolate runs out.
Okay.
But this is a good sign. That means I haven't overcooked it. I've got 6 fondants in the fridge. I'm working with an unfamiliar oven for cooking fondants, so I just wanted to have a practice run at these fondants so I can gauge how long they're going to take to cook.
Just a practice one.
Huh?
Just a practice one to see how long it takes
it's a
to cook.
practice one. Oh, he's
yeah,
clever.
I've got more.
Very impressed.
Very good, I like that.
Impressed. Oh,
Wow.
good Barossa
Hasn't
boy.
he come a long way.
Guys, think of it like this. It's service time, and you've got 30 minutes to go.
Now that the custard's made, I'm actually pretty happy with it. It tastes exactly how I wanted it to. I'm going to add in some texture by sieving some salted duck egg yolks and putting those through the custard, and hopefully that saltiness of the duck egg yolk and the sweetness of the custard will work really well together.
The next process is to reduce the stock for the jus element of the sauce and get a mixture of red wine, port, shallots and mushrooms on and reducing.
Just if you forgot, you've got 10 minutes to go.
So it's fair to say I've got my hands full.
The sieved egg yolks are changing the texture of the custard, and the sieving has put little pieces of egg yolk in there, which is kind of the same texture that you get when you don't make a custard right the first time. Even though the custard was smooth before, having those sort of little pieces of duck egg yolk go in there has almost made it feel like the custard's lumpy.
My coconut mussels dish is basically an Asian-style soup. I need to put the mussels in right at the last minute, just so they don't overcook. But when you put the mussels in right at the end, that's going to add a lot of saltiness. All of a sudden, the soup can get too salty, so it's a big risk.
With 5 minutes to go, the pressure is building. We can feel it, but you need to hold it together and bring it home.
So I come to carve the beef, and it's that real kind of moment of truth. I can feel that the meat is about right. So I cut into the beef, and it's exactly how I want it to be. Spot on. Perfect.
This is what it comes down to. Will your dreams come true or not? You have 3 minutes to go.
There's 3 minutes to go and I realise I've still got to do the brulee topping. I've got the sugar on top, I've got the blowtorch, I'm burning it away, time's going, it's not happening quick enough, I've got another 3 to do. I notice it's not even set properly. I haven't left myself enough time to finish off the brulee, but the other plates, at least they look fantastic.
With so many elements going on to this dish, it's difficult to make it not look like a big pile of food that's all been thrown together. I've just got to keep pushing through and hopefully I can get everything done and everything looking good.
I think the risks with the entree are probably getting the balance of flavours right. It's not a common combination, but I think it works.
Final little touches. You got 30 seconds to go.
Everyone's running crazy. Everyone's thinking to themselves, is this the last time that they're going to be cooking in this competition?
Down to the wire once again. You've got 10 seconds to go.
I'm praying for an extra 60 seconds that I know is not going to come. I just put the duck egg custard into a little bowl and scatter on the little Chinese churros that I've made.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. Your time's up, and well done, guys.
Well done, guys.
Well, all of us have got a big responsibility. We are just about to decide which 3 are going to go through to the next challenge. So I think we should get the first dishes in and try.
Walking into the dining room, I'm feeling really nervous. I'm not unhappy with anything in particular, but, you know, I know it's not, you know, perfect, and I think at this stage of the competition, you really need to be plating up perfect dishes to win.
Well, Claire, congratulations on putting up such an impressive spread. Tell us what the theme of your cookbook is and what the title is.
The theme and the title are probably pretty much one and the same, actually. Cooking from the Hearth, because Hearth is the restaurant that I want to own one day. And it's all about, you know, my style of cooking. It's about food that's kind of gutsy and honest and timeless.
I think you're going to have to leave us for a while.
Okay.
We'll have a good, hard taste.
Excellent. Well, I hope you enjoy it. Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
It's out of my hands now, so I just have to kind of walk away and cross my fingers and my toes and everything else and hope and pray that I get through.
What I like about it is the sweet appley dressing. I love the scallop. It's beautifully cooked. But that pork is really chewy. You know, that little glossy pork on the top? It's really chewy.
You know something? I would love it without the pork, just totally without the pork. Because, you know, we're thinking of a country restaurant. We're not thinking of city slick. We're thinking of just pure, to me. I see this as a city dish.
Yeah.
Good bit of wine has gone into that.
It's unbelievable. That is a lot of red wine in there.
This beef dish, if this beef dish is in Claire's book, and that's what the whole point of this challenge is all about, and I got the recipe of this red wine sauce out of her book, and that's what I ended up with, I'd be pretty disappointed. For me, I don't like it. It looks really rich and vibrant and shiny, but it's just really, really Vegemite-y.
But the beef was melt in the mouth. And I love the beef itself.
What was the flavour on the panna cotta?
Orange blossom.
Orange blossom. Can't make up my mind if I like it.
I love it. I'll tell you why I love it. You know, if I was Julie Andrews and this was Sound of Music, I'd be writing a song about my favourite things, and they would be French toast, blood orange, panna cotta, the flavour of orange blossom, which I always think's like kissing a girl's neck and you've got a little bit of perfume up there, you know? I like that fragrance. It's a great dessert.
I'm pretty happy with what I've done, but I don't know. I've just got this feeling about today. It's not a good one.
Obviously, these dishes will be in your cookbook.
Yep.
What's the theme and title?
The title of my book is A Cook's Roadmap, and the theme of my book is each chapter is going to be broken up into a different technique. So each one of these dishes represents a different technique used in cooking.
Okay, so mussels, what technique does that represent?
The coconut mussels is curry pastes for me.
The pork and scallops?
This is going to be, that would be in my roasting chapter.
And the chocolate fondant with the ice cream?
And this is just a relatively basic ice cream with just some flavourings in it, and that would be in like my custards chapter in my book.
Callum, time for us to taste. We're excited.
Thank you. I think even if I get eliminated today, I can go out with my head held high. I think it's one of those days where good food can still see you being eliminated.
Let's taste.
Yep.
That's exciting. It's fresh, it's alive, and the mussel, just perfectly cooked.
Yep.
Perfectly cooked.
All I taste is fish sauce in that curry. It's a curry paste technique. I want to see the curry paste. I want to taste those flavours of what's in the curry paste, and all I taste is fish sauce. So, although it's a wonderfully cooked mussel, the sauce is a fail.
It's out of balance, but you know what? It's nice, it's fresh, mussels cook beautifully.
But my question, I think the key question with this dish is it the perfect example of how to use curry paste technique? Because it's all about the cookbook. And the second question is whether it makes you want to rush out and make that dish.
This was all about roasting. That's what he said with this pork dish, and the pork is crispy on the outside. That crackling, like Gary's looking at me and jumping out of his chair, and the pork's nice and sweet and juicy.
And one thing I was really worried about with this dish is the very acid vanilla glaze you put down the middle of the celeriac. But gee, it just sets the whole dish alive. Great dish.
Shall we taste?
Yes. It is so Moorish, and the flavour of the chocolate is it's just filling my mouth.
Gary, I mean, this is about the custard technique. Yep. Has he nailed it with this dish?
I think he has. I think that ice cream's perfect. It's not eggy at all. It's beautifully and clean. It's got that lovely flavour of zesty orange and date. And I think he's done a fantastic job. I really do. I'd be happy with a massive bowl of that ice cream.
I'm feeling a bit nervous, but a bit confident at the same time. I'm really happy with the way these dishes look. I'm happy with the feel of them. I'm happy with the presentation. I'm hoping this is not the last opportunity that judges have to taste my food.
Jimmy, what's the title and the concept of your book?
The title of my book, given some thought, is Flavours from My Home. And is more of a dedication to my family, because it's like thanking them for absolutely everything that they've done for me, and I don't think I've thanked them enough.
Now, you've only got 3 brulees there. What happened?
I didn't get the last one on the plate.
Why?
I didn't brulee it enough, so I wasn't happy with it. And
so you didn't put it on?
No, I didn't put it on, no.
Okay. Thanks very much. You have to leave us to taste.
Thank you. I've done my spiel, I'm walking out the doors, and there's nothing more I can do. My fate in this competition rests with my ideas and the 3 dishes I've just put up.
I love the duck cooked in the master stock, but it's a little overcooked.
Yeah, I agree totally. I think the duck's well overcooked for me.
Me too. But that's disappointing. With that said, I think we better try the prawns.
I think so.
All right, let's taste the brulee, George.
I've stayed away from desserts in this competition, but I'm really happy with what I've put up.
Oh, you're going to give me a whole one?
Well, me and Maggie can share.
Yes, we'll share.
Oh, dear. Well, you know, if that's a brulee, then I don't know. It looks like custard.
Tastes good.
Flavour is fantastic.
That is one of the best tasting things we've had all day. That flavour of the spices works beautifully with the creaminess. I just keep thinking of all those amazing dishes that Jimmy's cooked and imagining those in a book along with a dish like that and thinking, that is a book that I'd like to have on my shelf.
Well, we're all finishing it off. That speaks volumes.
I think that's the first dish we've seen where everyone's finished it. So, you know, we can talk about technique problems, but at the end of the day, that's how you judge a good dish, huh?
I'm really happy with my cookbook idea, even if I'm not really in the state of mind to explain it to the judges today because I am so nervous. I'm hoping this food speaks for itself.
Adam, what's the name of your book and what's the concept?
The name of my book will be 2 Asian Kitchens, and the 2 kitchens I'm talking about in the title are the traditional and the modern kitchens. I've just done the modern dishes today because I thought the traditional dishes would be stuff that maybe you would know and would speak for themselves. So I tried to show more of my personality in these 3 dishes.
Thank you very much indeed. We'll taste now.
Thanks, Adam.
All I'm thinking is this the last tasting I'm going to have in this competition?
Right, let's taste.
The combination of that wonderfully cooked lobster, that rich rice that's then kind of cut back by the 2 emulsions he's made is just a really beautiful combination. It's rich, it's sophisticated, but it hasn't lost the soul of the dish.
I just have a dish of the rice without the lobster. And I think it's fantastic. Thank you.
The kingfish and the mushrooms are so good, like so strong, so packed with flavour, that I'd be just happy with that and the rice. I don't need any of the other jewels. It's jewels enough for me.
That reflects the sort of modern side of the book that he's talking about. 2 kitchens. He's hit the nail on the head with that dish. And just that yuzu, I mean, that's brilliant. He's a legend.
Yeah.
For me, a great dish. The only thing I didn't like, that little square of green cheese jelly. The flavour of the custard is very confronting to a Western palate because it is kind of like, slightly like the yolk of a hard-boiled egg that's been left around for a little bit too long.
It's not appealing to me.
You know what? We're all Western palates here, and I don't like it.
I agree.
Walking in to sit down in front of the judges, we're all feeling really nervous. I don't think anyone's in a good headspace right now. We're just fingers crossed we can get through.
I think today you showed that you weren't the same cooks that walked into this kitchen 3.5 months ago in the most beautiful way that you could. You cooked with confidence. You put up food that was impressive, spectacular, delicious. And that's fantastic to see how you've grown, not only as cooks in this kitchen, but also as people. Adam, you had a big issue with your dessert. The use of salty duck egg really wasn't to anyone's palate on this panel. However, your 2 savoury dishes were an absolute triumph, and that scattered sushi matched an excellent concept for your book. Well done.
I thought I put up 2 good dishes and one that wasn't really very good. And I'm kind of happy that the judges agree.
Claire, you had some issues with your execution. The pork was out of balance on the scallop dish, and that red wine sauce was Vegemite and over-reduced. However, you really captured the spirit of your book. And that panna cotta was a dead set winner.
I think the feedback's really fair. I kind of knew it all to be true already, so no surprises from that perspective.
Jimmy, the gravy for your prawns tasted soapy and your creme brulee was soupy. However, the flavour of that chai creme brulee was fantastic. You really stepped up your presentation and it matched the vision of your cookbook, which is a very persuasive one.
I'm not sure if my dishes were good enough. I just hope the flavours are enough to carry me through.
Callum, you need to watch the balance of your flavours. There was way too much fish sauce in that coconut mussel dish. However, your other 2 dishes were spectacular. We think the concept of your cookbook is a really, really smart idea.
The judges seem quite pleased with the concept of my book, and to have them like my ideas, it's a massive relief. So it's nice to hear them say good things.
Callum, what do you think you've done in this competition to prove that you would be a worthy winner?
I don't think anyone could ever accuse me of not trying hard enough. That's one thing I always tried to do. I'd persevere, and I'd always give everything my 100% effort, even if it didn't always come off. And I feel that my cooking has improved tenfold in the last couple of months alone. So if I can go on to win MasterChef, I think my cooking can just keep improving after that. And I think I've got a good future ahead of me.
Jimmy, why do you deserve to win the title of Australia's next MasterChef?
Every day that I'm in the competition, every day that I've cooked, I've gained confidence. Sometimes I've lost a lot of it, but just this week's been fantastic. I mean, to get the second call back, I mean, I've learned so much in such a short period of time being back. I mean, I've been more focused. I've thought about what I really want to do, and that's what I want to do.
Claire, what gives you the right to claim the title of Australia's next MasterChef?
I think what I've come to realise is that to make it in this industry, you have to have absolute focus. And I think I have that. I have the drive, I have the determination. You know, I have very exacting standards and I don't always live up to them, but I am constantly, you know, seeking to do better. And I think that that's something that makes for a good cook.
Adam, state your case for why you should be Australia's next MasterChef.
I guess when you felt strongly about something for so long, I mean, and it's got such a connection to every single part of your life, it's
what you make for someone when you love them, and it's what... Yeah. And it's what your parents or your grandparents make for you that lets you know that they love you. I know, the chance to do that every day would be amazing.
Thanks, Adam.
I am getting a bit emotional when I'm talking to the judges. It's just all the emotions and the feelings of the past few months all coming flooding back. I mean, there's a lot of personal growth that goes into this competition.
One of the four of you will be Australia's next MasterChef. But for one of you, the dream is about to come to an end. Adam, Callum, you're safe. You've made it through to the final three. Well done.
I can't... I can't put into words what this means, but it's amazing.
Callum and I are the first two into the top three, and we're sitting at sort of opposite ends, but I think if we'd been sitting next to each other, we would have been all over each other like a couple of schoolgirls.
Claire, Jimmy, comes down to you two, and it comes down to the dishes you cooked. Claire, you're safe, you're still in the competition. Jimmy, I'm sorry for the second time. I'm going to tell you that you're out.
No worries. Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate.
It's just relief. Relief. Just so glad. I mean, obviously, it's tough for Jimmy, but yeah, a weight's been lifted.
Jimmy, sad loss today. What are you going to do now?
Go home, spend some time with the fiancée. A lot of big things happening in my life coming up. Restaurant, writing recipes, having a baby. There's a lot of things happening for me right now, but the restaurant's definitely happening. I think that's going to be sort of the focal point because now I have my own family, sort of, I can get them to work in it too. But that's definitely what I'll be doing.
I'll tell you for now, I've been your biggest fan because I think back that chili crab. I think I asked you to reserve some from lunch.
Lunch plate.
When the cameras went off. Yeah. That was my little bowl, and, you know, there was a little bit of mutual appreciation. Wow. Just before I go,
go for it.
Save some for me.
I will, mate.
I also remember when you lost the Indian challenge in the invention test, you know, you got pipped to the post by Jonathan, the squeaky paneer and that lovely curry. They are fabulous dishes, you know. Really, really exceptional. Really good. We need fantastic Indian restaurants. We need somebody to champion it, and you could be it, my friend.
Any Indian restaurant in Australia will be happy to have that as one of their signatures.
Thanks.
Indian's your shtick.
Yep.
You stick to it.
I will.
And you produce us some brilliant stuff. And you've got a great future, great career. And I, for one, will be there regularly.
Thanks.
Well done, mate.
Thank you.
Jimmy, I'm afraid you haven't made the final cut. It's time for you to leave the MasterChef kitchen. Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you. Mate. I came so close. I could have won it. It was just a couple of steps in front of me. I didn't want today to be my last day in the kitchen, but it is. What a fantastic experience. I've loved every single second that I've had the opportunity to be in MasterChef. But tomorrow's a new day, and I'm going to be opening up that restaurant, and I know the judges are going to be there on that opening night.
Maggie, thank you so much for coming and being a guest judge with us here on MasterChef.
Well, thank you, Gary. Thank you,
my
George.
darling.
Do I get at least some kisses as I go? Thank you. Bye. It's been quite something.
Maggie's been amazing. I'm feeling very blessed indeed today.
Congratulations, you are our top three. This is it. We said that we were going to put a dream on a plate for you. This is it. You've got it. Absolutely. How exciting.
I couldn't be happy to be here. I can't believe I'm here. And I think looking at the looks on Callum's face and Adam's face, they feel exactly the same way. But just when you think for 5 minutes you can sit and just be relieved, no.
There's one more challenge before we get to the grand final. Office catering is a big part of being sometimes a cook, a chef. So now we're going to give you a challenge unlike any other you've seen. Catering for the highest office in the land.
Tonight, you're going to travel to Canberra, and tomorrow, you're going to be cooking an official dinner at Government House. You're going to be cooking for the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia, Her Excellency, Ms. Quinton Bryce.
I'm shocked. In a million years, I never would have picked this as something that I would do in my entire life, let alone tomorrow.
Who would have ever picked us?
Tomorrow night on MasterChef Australia.
Ooh, today is make or break time.
Callum, Claire and Adam battle it out for a place in the final two.
To fall at the last hurdle would be absolutely devastating.
The pressure is on as they race to serve up 35 perfect dishes.
If I don't get this right, I could well be going home.
When they cater a dinner party for the Governor-General.
This is the time, as a chef, I hit the red button. It's service time.
With only 2 places left, the stakes are higher than ever before.
Choking at the Governor-General's table, not a good look.
I could have just made my last dish in this competition.